So is Sri Lanka actually on the brink of civil war? Joining me on India First, Indrajit Samarajiva, a writer and commentator from Colombo. Also with me on the broadcast is Ishwaran Ratnam, a senior journalist. And Mr. Ratnam, if I could ask you first, how bad is the situation on ground right now? What impact has the shoot-at-sight orders had on the protesters, sir?
Well, there haven't been any shooting incidents reported as yet since this order was issued. But there are some tensions taking place in Colombo as we speak. This is just outside Colombo, close to the main airport. And there are mobs also in other parts of the country. So it's a very tense situation. People are expecting things to flare up overnight. And we've seen the curfew, which was imposed yesterday, being extended till Thursday. It was to be lifted tomorrow, but it has been extended till Thursday. So we are expecting more violent incidents over the next few hours.
Okay. Mr. Samarajiva, is there merit in Arjuna Ranatunga saying that clashes with the pro-Rajapaksa protesters, when the pro and the anti-protesters clashed, that led to the situation spiraling out of control? Is there merit in some arguing that Sri Lanka is actually on the brink of civil war?
So I absolutely agree with Arjuna, and I think the people have reacted in self-defense. If I may set the scene for you, Temple Trees has a large hall, like a wedding hall, where you can fit almost 5,000 people in it. And the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa filled up that hall, bussed in people, and assembled a small army. And these people were incited by Namal Rajapaksa, by Johnston Fernando, and they marched to where the peaceful protesters are. And my friend Prasad was with the protesters. He said first the tear gas came in, like air cover, and then this Mahinda's army came in and started assaulting people. And then people reacted in self-defense. And if you look at what was attacked, it was the people who organized these buses. It was the people who organized these attacks on the peaceful people of Sri Lanka who are demanding resolution to our problems through our democratic rights to go on the streets. Now, when you talk about civil war, I disagree with that because the people are remarkably united at this time. It is us against the ruling class and a small group of corrupt people and one corrupt family. So it's not a setting for civil war. This is just one group of people, a very small group of people of the ruling class against the people. And we have withdrawn our consent to be ruled by them.
Okay. Withdrawn consent to be ruled by them. Does that mean, Ishwaran Ratnam, that the protesters are not satisfied just with the resignation of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, and it was rather dramatic that he had to be rescued, he and his family had to be flown out of the Prime Minister's residence in a military chopper, taken to a naval base? Will they stay put there? There are some reports that seem to indicate that they may have to leave. Is this a single point demand now, demanding the resignation even of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa?
Of course. I mean, this whole protest commenced with the demand for the president to step down. The Prime Minister's name was later pulled into the whole scenario, but it all started with, the whole slogan was "Go home, vote out." Everybody wanted the president out first. They of course wanted all the Rajapaksas out as well, but the whole process started with, protesters demanding that the president resign. And that an entire cabinet, a new cabinet be appointed as well, and that they wanted a system change. But nobody's going to be satisfied with just the Prime Minister stepping down. I think a lot of people right now have shown through some of their actions on the streets as well that they want all the Rajapaksas out of Sri Lankan politics because they feel that they have ruined the country over the last few years and they need to see some change.
Okay. But with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa appealing for peace and calm, clearly, will this have any impact on protesters? Is the national government that he seeks, the opposition has rejected it so far, but is behind the scene any conversation happening on a national government? Is that possible, or is that not possible at all? Mr. Indrajit Samarajiva.
Look, every person in Sri Lanka, including small children, know the phrase "Gota, go home." It's not especially complicated. The phrase is not "Gota, form a national government," or "Gota, hang around any longer." So it is a quite simple demand. You can see what the problems we're having. Look, the fish rots from the head. We have to change leadership if we're going to change direction. So no, there is no working with Gota at this point. And everything he's talking about peace and so on, these are lies. He's inciting these things. He's pushing in different ways. He's the ones telling the troops to shoot on sight. He's not de-escalating this in any way. And like I said, if you look around the country, we are not going in the right direction. We have to change leadership. And everyone from small children to old people waiting in queues for cooking gas, everyone understands this. So it's only this one man who needs to understand the very simple slogan, Gota, go home.
And should he not go home, what next then, Ishwar and Ratnam? What's the next course of action?
Well, if he doesn't go home, I don't think this crisis is going to get resolved. I mean, like you said, it's the president who has given the orders to shoot on sight with the situation going out of hand. Of course, there are various other elements seemingly at play here as well with some of these protests, some of the mob attacks that are taking place in Colombo and outside. But, only he right now can resolve this by stepping down so that at least the major part of the whole issue is addressed here by he moving out. His brother has also moved out. If the Rajapaksas also step down, then, there can be a better system in place. Somebody else can take over, and there can be an all-party government. I mean, the main opposition is not going to be part of this administration as long as the president is there. And they've made that very clear. So then you're not going to have an all-party government. You might just have a few members from the ruling party eventually forming another cabinet, and that is not going to be accepted by the protesters on the street.
Okay, because the Attorney General today has asked the police chief to investigate the clashes between the pro and the anti-government protesters. Now, given the current situation, given what the people on ground are talking about the president and the family or the Rajapaksa family, is an impartial investigation even possible with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the helm of affairs, Mr. Samarajiva?
Look, that's like asking a gun to investigate the bullet. So, no, nobody takes these investigations seriously. I mean, they can pull up a mirror. I don't think they need a committee for anything.
Okay, so you're saying an investigation is not possible. The way out of this political crisis, Mr. Ratnam, you're saying is for the president to step down. But should he choose not to step down, with the army saying there's shoot-at-sight orders, does this mean that this chaos, this crisis remains, or the situation continues to deteriorate, go from bad to worse?
I think so. I think this situation will go from bad to worse, and I think countries like India and others who are now, involved in this whole process of trying to help Sri Lanka come out of the economic crisis need to maybe start putting some sort of conditions. I mean, I know it's a hard task right now, and it would affect a lot of people, but you need to get tough sometimes to send a clear message. And maybe now it's time that India especially starts putting more pressure on Sri Lanka to ensure there's political stability before it, steps in with financial support or other forms of assistance. I mean, of course, the assistance needs to go to the people, and we can't let the people suffer. But people are suffering anyway with all that's happening right now. This is just, affecting a lot of people. It's just escalating the crisis that we're already facing. So, something drastic needs to be done.